Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
Welcome back to the First Off in My Opinion podcast.
You know how we do.
Yo, what's up, my good people? It's your boy Tom Swoop. Man, this is the First Off in My Opinion podcast going down tonight. We got some spicy. What they say in the Latino community, caliente. Discussions for tonight, man. I don't even know where to start. We got a lot of stuff. I want y'all to jump in the comments as usual. I just want to do a quick little housekeeping tidbits for all my people streaming and watching on YouTube. Hey, just remember, subscribe, hit the bell notifications, and thumbs up this video. And we're going to get back into it real quick because, man, my idol, one of the dudes I've been looking up to for such a long time, Dave Chappelle. We got a lot to discuss tonight. I'm going to get into my take. I'm going to get into, what's public opinion like. I want y'all to give me y'all's information. Tell me how y'all feeling about it. Did you watch the special? Did you, how you feel about it? How you feel about the whole, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to drop some eggs that's going to crack. I'm going to break some glass tonight, because I might be getting canceled as well. So we're going to see what it do. Man, I had a tremendous weekend. I attended an event in Georgia called the 4th Annual. So I attended the 4th Annual Polo and Fashion Classic in Atlanta, hosted by Miguel Wilson. And if you've seen any celebrity wearing runways, the Emmys, the Grammys, all that kind of stuff, the suits that half the people wear on are designed by Miguel Wilson. So he's a very talented designer located in Georgia. And his event was top tier. That's all I'm going to say. Top tier. Black excellence at its finest. So, We have some questions or comments about, some of my apparel that weekend. That was sort of had my inbox chiming all weekend. So that was pretty funny. Had a few people trying to, have some jokes of some sorts, but hey, it is what it is. So, man, before this Dave Chappelle thing, it's like, hold on, I need to cut the music real quick, because, all right, so me personally, I've been a Dave Chappelle fan for as long as I can remember. I'm not like one of them people who just got on this horse, not even just got on, like even when the Chappelle show was out. I was a Dave Chappelle fan way before that, the specials and all that kind of stuff. So, everything I'm about to say is based on being a lifelong Dave Chappelle fan. So I wasn't going to do the show with this topic tonight. I was going to let it go. And then I saw the ESPN guy who used to be on ESPN, Dan Levitar, he had I saw a little clip on YouTube and he was talking about it. And I like Dan Levitar, but it's just his what he said agitated me enough to say, you know what? I need to have a discussion with my people so that we're all on the same page, because I need to let y'all know how I feel about it. You probably need to let me know how you feel about it, and just let people know in general, okay? So one of the things Dan said on his show was that, Dave has the power of, let's say, a Martin Luther King, a Farrakhan, that type of orator or speaker. I agree. And I've always, if you listen to this show, I've always said with great power, Spider-Man, comes great responsibility. So, and then I think, Dan and his show sort of to tilt the responsibility, that is basically saying that Dave used his power in an incorrect way with his platform for this being the last special on Netflix or whatever. And that, it was a point that he could have did something different. And I immediately my blood started to boil. And it started to boil for the simple fact, don't get me wrong, Dan Levitar is a Cuban, which is, a minority, but I kind of feel like he's, white enough to say that, you know what I'm saying? Whereas you really have to understand the black agenda to understand Dave Chappelle. You have to, because if you really, and he said it in the show, if you really watch the show, and if you really watch all of his shows, I mean, if you go back to Killing Me Softly, you go back to the HBO special when he was just, young and skinny, you know what I'm saying? If you go back and really watch them shows, Dave is absolutely correct. The only problem he's ever had is with white people. And I don't think it's more so like, oh, I hate white people. It's just, hey, this is what, we're at odds about this topic, and we keep being at odds at this topic. And every time we feel like we get into a point where we can, have a healthy discussion about this topic, you change the rules. And so my problem, I guess, with the whole thing, first off, I feel like it's genius how he did it, because he created a conversation that he knew was going to spiral out of control, and he knew he was going to put Netflix in the crosshairs, and Netflix was going to either have to, because the thing is, if Netflix, for one, Netflix has publicly come out and said that they support Dave Chappelle and that they're not pulling the show. For one, if they would have done that, if they would have pulled that show, that would have led to a fire sale for all of their content. Everything would have been under the microscope. And this is where this is what Dave is really trying to say. The LBG, let's just say the initials, have too much power and sway that they can actually do some of the stuff that they've been doing. Like, basically, if you say anything that they find offensive, it's over for you. It's curtains. That's way too much power. That's way too much power. for it to be. And the thing is, they're challenging artistic ability. So if you're saying, oh, well, my art says this, oh, no, you're canceled, sir. Your art doesn't matter. You offended us, so you're canceled. That's not cool. That's not cool. That's not cool. And the thing is, and being a black person in America, we sit back and look at it and say, okay, how did the initials agenda supersede our agenda, and they rolled the coattails on our agenda to their agenda, and then they don't even help. So it's like, how? I mean, let me know how you feel in the comments. Let me know, because it's like, I'm not even going to say I'm against them, because I do feel like they're a protected community. I just feel like their agenda now is so far ahead of everybody else's, and they rode the coattails of so many other struggles. But then that same struggle, like, it's like, if I help you up to a place and then you kick me in the face, it's like, what are you really doing? You've become the oppressor of what you've actually been saying. Because basically, that's what Dave is basically saying. He's saying that they're actually dealing out the punishment, like how he ended the show. He said, stop punching down at my people. And that was just a callback to what he kept saying they were saying about him. And it's real. It's real. Look at your TV programming. Look at your TV shows. Look at everything that you're doing right now. For one, I'm not homophobic at all. I don't have a problem with gays. I don't have a problem with transgenders. I don't have a problem with all of it. But what I'm saying is their agenda is becoming, the word I'm looking for, it's not even, I wouldn't say aggressively inclusive, unnecessarily inclusive. Put it that way. They're making, like, I remember we did a show when we were doing not first off, in my opinion, that's this show. But when we were doing the after dinner snack, we tried to do a transgender show, and we had, some parents of some transgender children. And what I'm about to say right now, I'm telling you, some people might find it offensive. We had parents on that show, and I wish, so we had some technical difficulties, so we weren't able to actually record it, but we actually did it on Facebook Live. But then it was like this whole issue with copywriting. But one of the things that we discussed was, like, we had a parent that was, I think she had a 4-year-old, and she was talking about, allowing her child to transition. And I didn't aggressively call her stupid or anything like that, but I basically, I'm like, when I was 4, I wanted to be a truck. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how can you let a 4-year-old tell you, oh yeah, I want to do this? Or, oh yeah, and then you just encourage it, and then you create this whole inclusive, so that's a whole nother bag of worms as far as, like, from the Dave Chappelle show to the actual community and what they're doing. So I don't want to, I guess we can if we're going to do it, but let me see. We got a couple comments. Let's go to the comments. Let's see what we got. I agree with Dave Chappelle. Just like he said, if I'm a trans woman and the cops show up, at the end of the day, you can still pull out your white card. Black people still black and still get treated crazy. This is true. This is very much so true. Very much so true. And I guess that's where it's such a slippery slope. And this is where I don't feel like they understand the power of what you're doing. And let's back this up. Twitter fingers, like, they aggressively, like, if you can still go on Daphne's page, her Twitter account, and like or try to Google some of the screenshots, man, they was at her neck. How can you be that much at her neck when she's a member of your community? Like, they forced her to do what she did. And it's like, this is what I'm saying. Like, the oppressed become the oppressor. They're too powerful. Like, I'm just watching a show, like a kid's show, And it's just like unnecessarily like this show is designed for 3 to 5 years old kids. And it's just like, okay, Tommy doesn't know if he wants to be a boy or not. Do you feel like Tommy? And I'm like, I get it, but it's like, is this the discussion you have with a 3-year-old? Huh, fam? Like, is it? Is it? All right. So I want to hear you guys take. I want to, if we gonna argue, we gonna argue. I kind of feel like everybody sort of agrees with A, we're not canceling Dave Chappelle. B, I really feel like he's too big to be canceled. You got to think, it's psychological as well. So if you watch the end of the show and Dave puts up all those pictures of all those celebrities, right, that he's in pictures with, think about it. If all of those celebrities really 100% in the mud support Dave Chappelle, we got Jon Stewart, Jerry Seinfeld, you know what I'm saying, Norm Macdonald, who passed just recently, rest in peace. I mean, you got all these, top tier people. If they really support him like that, he's too big to cancel. And so it creates a conversation in the community and Hollywood. Oh, what do we do? You know what I'm saying? And the initials, they out for blood, but they're like a rabid dog. They'll bite anything and anybody to get their agenda across. And it makes no sense. Listen, Dave is also a comedian. At the end of the day, they push buttons. We've all been offended by someone before, but it is what it is, and it's his opinion. You chose to tune in. You chose to tune into his show. You choose to tune into his artwork. You can't tune into his artwork and then say, "Oh, your artwork is offensive. We need to cancel you and all of your artwork." You chose to hit play. You had a choice. And then some people will say, well, he's poisoning the masses. Poison the masses with true opinion? With his point of view? I mean, y'all been doing that for years. Y'all been doing that for 1,000 years. So how can you look at Dave and then be like, he's doing anything differently than what's already been done? And I think this is the genius in it, because it's like, yes, he could have made a funny okay, so I'll back this up. I went to go see Dave Chappelle twice over the summer down at his ranch or whatever in Springfield, Ohio. None of the whole guise of that whole thing that Netflix had paid for him to do. And that's why I feel like it's another couple specials. They just don't got the deal for it. And this is what I'm saying. Dave is a genius. So he did those shows down there in Springfield for the whole basically the whole pandemic. We talking about maybe 50, 60 shows. And each one of those shows had, Nas performed, The Roots, different comedians. Kevin Hart showed up. Like it was everybody had, when I went there, Louis C.K. had performed, and Dave, none of that. We haven't seen any material, but all of that was under the guise of him getting ready for his last Netflix special. But we didn't see anything of that. And even the shows like my people went to go see that was in Harlem, none of that was on there. That's why I'm telling you, Dave planned to do this because he already has 4 to 5 more specials already done. Netflix just doesn't own them. And so him doing this show, creating this last conversation about this, and hold on a second, what are we saying? Yeah, in Yellow Springs. Okay, yeah, listen, and when I say this, those shows that he did, like, okay, so when he came out, the first time I saw him in Yellow Springs, the first one he came out, he right, and Dan Levitar said this too in his show. He was like, yeah, he came out, he was drunk, and he was a little high, but it was funny. It was Dave Chappelle. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude literally does not need material. So he came out, and I think he talked about, like, I think Barack Obama for like the first like 20 minutes. took a pause, let somebody else come up. Then he came back out, called Kevin Hart on the phone. Then they had this whole funny exchange back and forth. And it was Dave Chappelle. And they say he was just working out, work or whatever. But I'm telling you, none of that was in that show. None of the material, none of those jokes were in that show. None of those other comedians were in that show. None of it. That's why I'm telling you, this was all strategic. Like, he knew when he went to go do this show right here, the closer, he knew, okay, I can get this off, say what I want to say. It's almost similar to what a president would do in his last 4 years, that when he know he can't be president no more, let me go out saying whatever I want to say because I know they can't do nothing for me. So do nothing to me. So what, y'all's president Barack Obama should have did, he should have did a whole bunch of black stuff that last 6 months, but I'm not gonna get on that, what I'm saying? Cause, I don't want to get canceled because y'all feel like, I'm still on the record of saying Bill Clinton was the first black president. So I'm just gonna say it. Think about it. He got caught fucking in the White House. You know what I'm saying? He played saxophone. He used to go jogging with gray sweatpants on in the morning. He was not going to McDonald's because who jogs to go get some hot coffee? Who does 3-4 miles running and then say, oh, you know what would be great right now after I've been running 3-4 miles? Some hot coffee. No, fam. That does not happen. He was going to go see hoes. I'm telling you, he was going to go see hoes. But I digress. Listen, so when I tell you, I feel like Dave and everything he's done to lead up to this point is really setting the stage for the next big thing, because all of those events that I'm telling you about, they were all filmed with a professional crew. Like, we had to sign waivers. You know what I'm saying? We had to do all this stuff to be included into the audience for these shows. So you telling me you did all of that and none of it was in that special, and that's supposedly the last special? Come on, man. It's Amazon, Netflix, HBO Max, Stars, the list goes on. Paramount Plus, all of them are about to be negotiating with Dave Chappelle to buy those shows. Trust me, this will boil down to money. And when those shows, he might have said something about the initials, maybe 20, 30 seconds. Dave knew exactly what he was doing. He pulled a gun out and pointed it directly at, and he took his shot. And like he said, I'm done with it. I did what I needed to do. I've created a conversation, and the conversation is real, and the conversation is emanating. Like, it's turning into this whole piece over the whole country. So it's like he did what he was supposed to do. Now he about to get a bag. I'm telling you, watch in the next year, you're going to see a streaming war for Dave's content. Trust me. It's going to be a whole streaming war for his content. Because it's already done. I'm talking like he probably has 6 specials already done with all of the content. We talking, he went on tour. Like, I think he did like 25 cities. And then he turned around and did like 50 shows at Yellow Springs. So we talking about hundreds of hours of content. It's about to be a bidding war. It's like he took a social platform, created a real conversation, and now he about to get a bag from it. Soon as it simmered down a little bit and people like, oh, we need more Dave. He killed it. Yeah, I from a business standpoint, from a social influence standpoint, perfection. But you tell me how y'all feel. Like, do you feel he went too far? Do you feel it was appropriate? How do you feel about what Dave did and what Dave said? Put it in the comments. I will throw it on the screen. We will have a discussion. I want to hear. I want to hear from you. How you feeling, Monica? How you feeling, Erica? Appreciate y'all. How you doing, Maya? I always be wanting to look at your name and I say Mia. I just be wanting to say, well, it is Mia. My fault. It is Mia. Why not? We wanted to say Maya. That's what I'd be saying. I had it backwards. Okay. Listen. Also, this weekend, a lot of other things happened. I want to tell y'all a story. The story about to get weird. So, if you got questions or concerns, just put it in the chat. I'll get to it in a second. But so it's about to get weird. So I'm at this event, and I don't even know if I should tell this story. It's kind of like real weird, but so I'm at this event, looking real, let's just say fat boy fresh, right? And so this young lady walks into the event, just really nice, taller lady or whatever. She looking at me, I'm looking at her. And me, I got this thing, and maybe it's just weird, but like when I'm in Georgia, like I'm not really, it's kind of weird, and I don't want all my Georgia people to get offended, but like I don't check for women when I'm in Georgia unless I clearly know that they're a woman. Like literally, I was their gynecologist and I've checked myself. Because down there, it's a different breed of, let's just say the initials. There's some men that look exactly like women, like literally. So this chick was tall, right? She was tall and she had big hands. She had big feet. She's really pretty though. Don't get me wrong. So I just, and I remember it was a couple guys around me and they were from Georgia. And they was like, man, little mama look bad. Little mama look, man, you better look over there, man. That girl look good, man. In my head, I'm like, are we sticking with little mama right now? Like, cause I think it could be little fella. And they like, no, doc. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yeah, y'all from here. So it's like, so even their conversation, like, don't get me wrong, a couple of them, probably listening right now. So it was like, I'm like, fam, y'all from here. So it's like, y'all don't see it like I see it. Like, I'm from Ohio. So it's like, you see a woman, it's a woman. You know what I'm saying? Down here, you see a woman, it's a if. It's a if. It's a iffy. So, make a long story short, I ain't say nothing. I ain't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it ended up being a woman. Put it that way. It ended up being a woman. And I don't know. If you've been in this situation, help me now. Help me help myself. Because, yeah, I couldn't do nothing. I still. Spice Adams, see. So it was a few, like if you peep me out, over the last couple of days, I typically never, when I go to events, I typically don't do a lot of posting on my stories and stuff like that. Cause honestly, I don't be wanting people to know where I'm at. But I chose to do it this time because I kept saying at the beginning of last year, okay, you want to know how I confirmed it? Okay, so this is what happened. Funny story. We know mutual people, and the mutual person confirmed it for me. Like via, like put like this, somebody else at the event, like the next day, because it was 5 different events in a 3-day span. And look, I'm gonna tell y'all like this: day drinking is not for the weak. Like literally, you will get. I was blown out. The Georgia heat and drinking during the day, I was blown out. Like we talking like I'm back in the bed. Like the parties were starting like somewhere like noon, 1 o'clock, and they'd run to like 6 or 7. Then it would be another little wind down situation that would start around 7 and go to like 10 or 11. So I'm like, whoo, like by Saturday evening, Black Jesus, I couldn't do no more. But I met so many people, I'm not even gonna lie, so many people, so many creative, forward thinking, progressive people in that time span. And just those hours having conversations with people that get me and get where I'm going with stuff and get, it was just dope. It was dope. If you guys can go, he's actually planning another event in May. It's definitely a big ball type, event and gala type situation. It's gonna be in DC, and I'll be at that. I'll be at that as well. But yeah, my day drinking days. Whoo! Let me just tell you, that I listen. By Sunday, I just had Gatorade in a wine glass because I needed my electrolytes and fluids because I was blown out. But yeah, so I met somebody who confirmed that she was a woman. Actually, pointed me to her IG page, and you know me, I went all the way back to like day one. I needed to see you when you was 13, but I did confirm. But hey, it is what it is. It's Georgia. It's not my fault. It's just not my fault because you can easily be Bobby Valentino down there if you know what I mean. So I'm cool. But people, yeah, it was a couple people, who see. I brought out the cheetah print. I'm gonna put it up on the screen. Hold on one second. I'm gonna put the cheetah print up on the screen. Hold on. I don't think I can do it on here. Hold on. No, I can't do it on here. If I was on my other computer, I could. But I brought out the cheetah print. It was very ambitious. Some people had an issue with it. They were inboxing me saying, no, 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 take it off. I felt the cheetah print. Listen, I was walking around with people who done paid umpteen dollars for custom suits and custom this, custom that. And yeah, people was like, man, killing that cheetah print player. And hey, we did our thing over the weekend. You ain't see it? Go on my Instagram. Go on my Insta. I know it's on my Instagram. If you go on my Instagram at Tom Swoop, you will see me in the cheetah print, and you will be amazed. You will look at your husband or significant other, and you will say, you know what? Cheetah print is not going too far. You allowed to do it because Tom did it, and he pulled it off masterfully. 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 Man, let me tell you, and listen, I was clean. Don't get me wrong. I was clean. I know that. Man, let me tell you about the amount of inappropriate inboxes that I got. Let me just tell y'all, it is so tough sometimes being Tom Swoop. Y'all don't understand because the stuff that y'all think versus my real life is so drastically different. Just totally drastically different. Makes no sense whatsoever. Just crazy. Like, everybody think I got like a line of holes. Like, I just got like a hole of decks, and I just flip through it, and I go through it. Oh, it's Tuesday at 6. I don't have none of that, right? And I'm gonna be honest. Could I? Probably so. Do I want that? No. Y'all understand? I'm old. And then I'm old and I want to settle down. So therefore it's a totally different conversation with me. A lot of women approach me on some very superficial stuff. So it's like when it's superficial, I'm not really interested. It's sort of like you in the mood for like a really nice, elegant dinner, but everybody you meet, they like, oh, let's just go to the drive-thru and get some chicken, some chicken wings. Everybody, chicken wings. And you just like, yeah, man, I want no damn chicken wings. Man, I want to sit down, have a waiter bring me a nice piece of meat, some courses, you know what I'm saying? I want the full meal. I'm too old for chicken wings. It's very difficult. I knew Monica was gonna be the one to blame me. I knew she was gonna be the one. Look, listen what let me put this on screen. You're giving off the wrong vibe. How am I giving off the wrong vibe, ma'am? How am I? When I tell you, anybody who know me, who's talked to me, know that I'm a conversationalist. Like I can actually hold a conversation. So when women send me like one word messages, you know, the same stuff y'all complain about. I be looking at the phone like, girl, can you use a complete sentence? Like, use a complete thought. If you text me at 1:30 at night and it just says WYD, you are not looking to bake cookies. And like I said, I'm tired of chicken wings. I want a full course meal. And you got to be somewhere different in your adult manhood to actually be like, hey, because don't get me wrong, they be looking good and delicious. But at the end of the day, it's like I'm really just not interested. If I can't get the full meal, I don't want the snack. That's just me. And I think a lot of people are starting to be like that. And it could be an age thing, because when I have conversations with even, successful Black women, they pretty much say the same thing. But I guess my difference would be I'm a high effort person once I'm locked in, whereas it'd be a lot of people who are very low effort, and they're under the assumption that they actually doing something, and it'd be weird. It'd be big weird. Like I'd be like, fam, you ain't doing nothing. Listen, I tell any woman this: if all you do, and while you're quote unquote dating around, is accept dates, you're not doing nothing. You're not doing anything. If all you can do is say, "Oh yeah, I like to go there. Oh yeah, I'll go there. I'll allow you to feed me, pay for me to eat, and we can go to a nice restaurant." I can. If that's all you're doing, you ain't doing nothing. You're not doing, and that's why men look at women a certain way, because it's like, yeah, you not doing nothing. But women be thinking, since I accepted the date, I'm actually doing something. I'm like, no. You're not doing anything. You're not. You're just showing up. I could have went down a line of women who don't want to go to a nice restaurant and have a great conversation and eat. I could probably line up 100 women. They all say yes. So what are you really here doing? You gotta be willing to put some time, effort, energy, be proactive, come up with some ideas, some suggestions, actually be engaged into what you're doing. You just can't sit back and be reactive to a situation. You can't. Not now, not in 2021. It's about to be 2022. We about to have flying cars probably. We already got like autonomous cars that'll drive you to the liquor store. Come on, y'all. What you say, Rob? People think they're independent living off the government. That's a whole nother show, bruh. That's a whole nother show. I can go on that. I can get on that for. I ain't even gonna touch that one. So hold on, let me see. What was she saying? Okay, I'll be having to blow this stuff up, y'all, because I'm old. Hold on. So you become receptive to a woman inviting you out. So would you be receptive? Oh, so would you be receptive? Would I be receptive to a woman inviting me out? All right. So based upon everything I just said, y'all probably about to be like, "Tom, you full of it." I like to the thought process I just gave you was based upon a generalization. But in theory, I do like to actually be the pursuer, but at the same time, I do like a proactive person. So if a woman did invite me out somewhere, I would probably go, but then I would probably pay. So she could probably come up with the idea, but I would still have to feel like somewhat involved. And this is probably a little bit of my drawback. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's like people have told me throughout the millenniums that I've been single that I don't let women be women, or I don't let people do stuff for me. And in my defense, I kind of feel like the stuff people want to do for me is stuff that I personally already do for myself. And instead of seeing the void of the things I don't do for myself, they continually keep trying to do things I already do for myself. If that makes any sense. So like if we have a conversation and I'm like, or if you already see, like I like to shop, I already like to buy clothes, you know what I'm saying? That's my, I like to, show up a little stylish sometimes. If that's my thing, why would you try to do that thing instead of somewhere else I have a void? If that makes any sense. So I guess that's where and listen, nobody's perfect during this process. Nobody has a crystal ball that can tell you everything that's about to happen. But at the same time, if you really listen to who you're trying to pursue and what you're trying to get from this situation, you'll get all the answers. Hold on, let me see what Rob's talking about. I just hopped in and heard you say people thinking they're doing something, so I missed the actual topic. No, we started to listen. We started on the Dave Chappelle, but we got back, to some other stuff, which ain't a problem, man. It ain't never a problem. You know what I'm saying? So that's the whole thing with this show. It's first off, in my opinion, I like to just give my opinion, hear your opinion. Let's just have a healthy conversation. Let's have some healthy dialogue. So I'm never tripping about bouncing around. That's the show. We could be talking about, you know, the Browns' inability to stop anybody on defense in the next 5 minutes. So that doesn't, that's not an issue for me. So, whatever, jump in, say whatever, we can do whatever, So, I mean, just to wrap up that whole, let's point at Tom because Monica said so, it's your fault. Um, I accept all blame in my outcome right now, and I feel like that's the difference in a lot of people. Like a lot of people look at the being single as saying it's the world's fault. It's it's these women. It's the no. I have a role to play in it. I have a definite role to play in it, and until I start doing some things differently, I'm not going to get a desired outcome. So I definitely have to do some things differently. I think everybody who is single who actually wants something special needs to do some things differently. There's a lot of people who say they want that, but you see how people move, and you can tell in the first week or so, like that's not what they want. Like some people honestly really just want dinner and to get tossed up. Literally, that's it. That's all they want. Dinner dates and get tossed up, but then they want to go back to their single life. It's just reality. Then you have people who really want to be married, because they really want that deep companionship and, covenant relationship with another significant other. They want that. But you can clearly tell that these people are different if you listen to what they say out their mouth, how they move. If you really listen to how they move, you'll see, like, hey, it is what it is. Like, I remember about a few months back, I had to call BS on a girl. And she was like, nah, that's not what I'm not that type of woman. And I had to pull some receipts. And I had to sit her down, had a whole Bert and Ernie. Listen here, Bert. This is what you doing. This is what you actually put effort into. And when she really sat back and looked at it, yeah, dinner and getting tossed up. That's it. But the words, that word, that stigma, they don't like that. People don't like that. Like dudes don't like to be called, what you call them, fuck boys. But that's what some of them are. And I feel like women be knowing that and still dealing with them. If you talk to a man who's 35 or higher and he hasn't had any healthy long-term relationships in his adult life, it is what it is. And the same thing applies to a woman. The same thing applies. If you talk to a person and they be like, the last healthy relationship they had was they freshman when they was in high school. Yeah. That's what you about to get. You're about to just get more of the same. So the reality is everybody's not ready for a healthy relationship. Some people looking for a dysfunctional hot mess. They're looking for a whole dumpster fire. But nobody wants to say that. Think about the intelligent people you know. People who you know are not dumb, who are smart, who actually get in relationships. And people be like, well, people send their representative. Man, if you sit back and listen to what a person said, add up what they've actually done, you pretty much can tell, like, ain't nobody just wake up one day and become a dumpster fire. No, they've been burning for a while. If you listen, but you don't be listening. You too busy. Like I talk about this meme all the time, but if you remember that meme that was floating around like at the beginning of the summer and it said something like, if a woman likes you enough, you don't have to do any lying. She'll do all the lying for you. And that's absolutely true. And that's man and female. If a dude like a girl enough, man, I done heard it. I done been with a dude. This chick hotter than Atlanta. And he like, man, you know, she just got a lot of friends and stuff like that. No, man, that ain't that. No, she ain't messing with him. That's her cousin. Yeah, man, that. Nah, bro. Nah, fam. Nah, that ain't that. Mm-mm. You don't get cousins like who just appear. Like, yeah, that's my cousin. No, nah, fam. She getting tossed back. She getting broke down. She getting bent over. She getting landed on. Same thing with women. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, these dudes that, oh, this my, cousin. Show me a picture where y'all are at a family reunion wearing a terrible t-shirt. Show me that. Show me multiple family reunions where y'all got bad airbrush jobs. If you can't show me that, that's not your cousin. No. No. So, hold on, let me see. I got a question up here. What you got, Holly? Do you feel like women's motherly instinct takes over messy situations? Ooh, baby boy conversation. A baby boy. This is a Jody question. And I definitely feel like that's a yes. I feel like, and the thing is, I feel like you got good women who do that. Like they see that boy in them that could be a man. So they feel like if I nurture him enough, if I support him enough, he'll evolve into, this outcome, this vision I have in my head of what a man's supposed to be. If I back him, if I support him, if I encourage him, if I, take care of him, he'll eventually end up being this thing. And I'm not going to say it's absolute, but that's a burden that you putting on yourself that he's not putting on himself. I guess that's the real question. I mean, the real, the reality of it. It's like you're taking something on your shoulders. You become an Atlas for no reason when he's not becoming Atlas as well. It's sort of like, Atlas Shrugged. Like he took the world on his shoulders when all he had to do is shrug it. So it's like, I think we need to educate our women to understand when, because women are amazing. Women are amazing. Women can shoulder the burden of so many things just naturally, inherently. Just like you just said, like a motherly quality. And before you know it, you got a whole nother child. But it's a grown man, somebody who's supposed to be actively leading you or actively co-leading. You got to watch that. You got to be careful, because that is one of the things that is really ruining this country. Is women taking, these boys and hoping that they're going to turn out to be men. And I do admit, different people pull different things out of you. So, and everybody's heard of this situation. You got a guy who was a trash bag and had a good woman and cheated on her, left her, married a girl he met at a buffet at a strip joint a month later. Now he at the church preaching. He got a nice car. He made good money. That's true. That's real. Certain people just pull certain stuff out of you. But you got to be careful with your energy output with people. Literally, you got to be careful with how much you actually put into a person who's not putting any energy into themselves, into what they actually want to be. And if you dragging dead weight, it don't matter. Hold on, let me see what we say. Women displacing reality by trying to change a man to fit their standards. Yes. 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 We have got to get to a better place. When I tell you, when it comes to evaluating people we give our energy and our heart to, we have to get to a better place of understanding, a better place of knowing what our real outcome is. And that's why I feel like a lot of people go wrong. They don't know where they want to be on the other side of it. And so it's like you fantasize, but the reality is sometimes that fantasy is just that. It's a fantasy. Like, we're so much bombarded with so much social media outcomes and desired results. And you can take this back to even like when we were kids and we were in school and you can be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, you could be when actually there were some mailman, there were some team crew members, there were some mop technicians in the classroom, but we were never taught that these were acceptable outcomes. So you can't, we have to change what is the outcome. And for everybody, marriage is not a healthy outcome. Being with one person isn't a healthy outcome. I would in an ideal world, would I want, a whole bunch of people to be married and we're succeeding as a society? Yes, I would, but that's just not the reality we live in anymore. We just need healthier people. We need happier, healthier people. Whether they single, divorced, co-mingling, poly situation, whatever. We just need happy, healthy people all moving in the same direction. We can't put people in a box anymore. People who want to get married, that's great. People who just want companionship, that's great. But we can't keep lying to each other about these outcomes and then messing up somebody's life or wasting somebody's time or just doing all this different stuff that doesn't even matter, because you're lying because you don't even know what you really want, because you've been living this fantasy like, oh, I've been taught like a little girl that, a girl is supposed to get married and wear a white dress and have a big wedding. And this has been ingrained through everything, social media, TV, pop culture, everything since I'm a kid. So then when I'm, older, I'm looking for this outcome that I've just been programmed for. It's not even mine. It's just it's programming. So, woo, man. Hold on, let me go to some of these comments. Oh, I'm missing the conversation. I'm sorry. I be talking and then y'all be communicating in the comments. My bad. I be missing it, so now I don't even know what's going on in the comments. But look, I just want to thank y'all for tuning in today. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up. We approaching the hour, so I do want to just thank y'all for tuning in. This has been First Off in My Opinion with Tom Swoop. If you still if you still got comments, just throw them in the chat. Like I always go back over these. I interact with the comments, so go in there and drop what you need to drop, man. I really appreciate y'all tuning in, and I'll be back next week and we'll do it all over again Mondays at 9. You know what I'm saying? I'm out.